Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we got a very good game to go over. Here we're going to be learning about do not bring your queen out too early and what to do whenever that happens. Well, theoretically, what you're supposed to be doing is to attack the queen. With that being said, don't just attack the queen willy-nilly, just attack, attack, attack. There should be a basic plan behind that. Typically, it's trying to bring your pieces out to get free tempos or free moves by doing it, and then after you have enough pieces out, you can either attack the queen by winning it, or you can then attack the other pieces, either attack the king to get checkmate, or maybe just win some of their material. Basically, it's going to be a full active army attacking a sleeping army, right? They're just not out and about. Let's go and take a look at a game that shows a very good example of this. And well, this is the beginner versus the intermediate player, or maybe even expert, I would say. And whenever they brought the queen out early, here they tried to go for scholar's mate. So let's take a look at this beauty. Here we start with e4, e5, and here bishop c4. Already a little wow, wow, wow. You can already feel like f7, you're going to be getting the scholar's mate or the wayward queen attack. Okay, what do you play here? A nice move here, knight c6. Now this is important because when the queen does come out, she usually comes over to h5 and attacks on f7 for mate, but also the unprotected e5 pawn. So already you can see that knight e6 with a simple developing move, black already knew what was going to be happening. So here queen h5 got played. Now that we are secure about knowing that, well, the pawn is protected, only now do we attack the queen, okay? Just remember, we need to attack the queen, but first see what the plan is, and then we attack her. Well, simple chess, what do you play here to attack the queen? Hopefully you see it. Pawn to g6, attacking the queen. The queen then retreats. Again, don't just try to attack her willy-nilly. You need to find out what the idea is. What was the idea here? Here, if you played knight d4, oh, it looks like a great move, but you missed the idea. You just got checkmated on f7. So, before you do it, ask yourself, what's my opponent's threat? Once you find it, look to bring out a piece and develop it. Remember, try to bring out your knights and bishops first. So what did black play here? The beautiful knight to f6. Already we have 2 tempos ahead because the queen, that's pretty much a -1 right here. So only one piece is really out. And here white did not learn their lesson. Here they just love to attack on f7 and they go ahead and play queen to b3. And already at this point we have a refutation line, meaning we could just get into a winning position. All right, black to move. What do you play here? I do challenge you to push pause and try to find the best move here. All right, hopefully you push pause, try to figure it out. What do you play in this position? Here there are lots of good moves that you can play. With that being said, here the beautiful move was knight to d4. What? Doesn't that just lose the pawn? We'll get to that in a second. I can already hear someone yelling at me, hey, what's wrong with queen e7? Nothing is wrong with queen e7. Here, queen e7 develops a piece and also defends f7. Maybe bishop g7 gets played, and then we can castle. You still got a good advantage here. With that being said, look for the forced moves, and whenever you play knight to d4, this is very much forced. Why? Because we're attacking the queen. And here, well, white said free pawn and said, you know what, I get to take here in check. So they played bishop takes on f7 check. Only one move for you to play. King to e7, and only now did white realize the problem in this position. What's the problem here? Well, the queen is the only defender for the f7 bishop. So what do you do here? You have to move your queen and stay on this diagonal, but already you're running out of squares. Queen e6 check, pawn just takes. Queen to d5, knight takes. There's only one square to move to. That is queen to c4. And now the idea is very simple here. If you can kick the queen, you can go ahead and win the bishop. And hopefully this is not a hard move for you at all. Mind you, if you want to, this is not the best move, but you can go ahead and try to cash in. Meaning, well, whenever you have a good position, you can go ahead and try to get material back right away. Although, if you can keep the pressure going, you can get more and more for it. It's like whenever you're investing money, right? You can bring your money out fast, but the longer you keep it in, the more money you can make with it. So, with that being said, black could have played knight takes c2 check, and after queen takes back, king takes, well, you won your pawn back, but you could have got so much more out of this position. And that's exactly why black instead went ahead and attacked the queen. What do you play here? Hopefully you chose the right pawn here to attack the queen. It was pawn to b5, attacking the queen here. What was wrong with d5? d5, well, the bishop can just take back. Don't get me wrong, the bishop will be won, but why give your opponent more material or money if you don't have to? So, pawn to b5 got played. Notice the queen can't even take the b5 pawn because the knight is protecting. And here, white went ahead and played queen c5 check, thinking, well, you know what, I'll go ahead and check here, and after they take the bishop, then I can take on e5. So, well, free money, king took on f7, and here only did here at this point, only did white realize, uh-oh, I can't take on e5 here. What was wrong with queen takes e5? The little pieces are out, so they will start making threats. Knight takes on c2 check, forking the king and the rook. Well, that means we got to go ahead and defend this c2 pawn because that's the fork square. So the queen went ahead and went to c3. And you have to move your queen here too, because when the king took, here we go. There's a discovery to attack this queen. All right, so the queen went to c3, develop with a threat. What's the next piece you should be looking at moving here? Hopefully you know it. It's the bishop. Well, where do you move the bishop to make a threat? Da-da-da-da. Bishop to b4 gets played. Notice you could play pawn b4, but hey, pawns are not as strong as pieces. Get your pieces out. Bishop b4 gets played, attacking the queen. Wait a second, can't the queen just take? It cannot be taken. It is a decoy. If queen takes on b4, we get the beautiful family fork here. Knight takes on c2, forking the king and the queen over here, a family fork, and even attacking rook over here. It's just got the whole family involved. Unfortunately, this is a bad royal fork here too. So, well, the queen had to move away, and already the little pieces are starting to show their strength, meaning, with one piece, the queen, she can definitely control lots of squares, but even worse, when you have a whole army attacking, they can control even more squares than the queen. Already the queen cannot go to a3, bishop, b3, knight, c3, bishop. There's only one square the queen can move to defend on c2, which is queen to d3. All right, here we go. What's the next piece you want to bring out? Light square bishop. How do you do this? Develop with a threat. What do you play here? All right, hopefully push pause, try to figure it out. I hear someone saying bishop a6. Although this does have an idea about trying to attack the queen, there's a bishop in the way and the pawn's in the way. So here we have a far more active move here with pawn to d5. Now you are threatening pawn takes on e4 here. A good move for white would have been something like pawn f3, but even then, well, you're making pawn moves and not developing your pieces. I mean, look at all these sleeping pieces here. They're just all in their starting squares. Unfortunately for white, they went ahead and took, and here you can take back, but remember the idea, develop with a threat. And here we can bring the bishop out with bishop to f5, and already you have one material here. Bishop on f5 not only attacks the queen, but also the critical c2 square. So the knight here can take on c2, check. And again, the queen is just running out of squares. a3, bishop, b3, knight, c3, bishop, d3. The queen on d3 is the bishop over here. Is the queen safe on e3 right here? Knight takes on c2, check, we'll take it. What about f3? Well, knight takes on f3. G3, safe square, H3, bishop. You can see all these squares are now just being taken up so fast over here because you have more pieces out. And well, if the queen did not want to run back to F1 and it can't go to E2, so the queen went to G3. And again, remember, don't cash into so early. Knight takes C2 can get played, but remember the saying, when you see a good move, look for a better move. Here, continue the harassment of the queen. Here, knight to h5 was played to attack the queen, and now the queen has no squares to move over here on the third rank. All the squares are taken. F4, taken up by the knight. Is h4 and g5 safe? The queen's guarding. There's only one square this queen can go to, so the queen went ahead and snacked attack on e5. But king and queen on the same file. Pin it and win it. What do you play here to get a winning position? I mean, it's been a winning position, but now we get the material version of it, not just theoretical. Here we go ahead and play. Rook to e8, pin it and win it, and the game ended very fast here. Queen takes on e8, check. Queen takes on e8, check. And here, the game could have gone on longer with king to f1. Unfortunately for white, they went ahead and played king d1, and maybe they knew this, they just wanted to get the game over with, so they're just resigning in their own way. King to d1 got played, and now it was black to move. Checkmate and won. What do you play here? This is a nice little study position for some people who need to work on thinking about their opponent's moves. I will do this with some of my Scholastic students, and you'd be surprised how many times the answers are wrong here. I'll get bishop g4 check. We could block with the pawn. Let's see, what else is a good check around here? Queen e2 check has been mentioned a few times. Knight takes. Is there anything else we could try here? I guess it's just a checkmate square time now. What do you play here? Here, I hope you found it. Bishop takes on c2 for checkmate, as the king cannot take because the knight protects, and the king cannot go over to the e file as the queen is just guarding. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.